Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we'll talk about how to create punchy sub-bass in your master. We'll cover 4 ways that you can create a punchy sub-bass and organize these techniques from the most simplistic to the most complex. However, each one is going to be pretty easy to achieve. Additionally, we'll listen to examples of each technique on a stereo mix. So, if you could, like, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for the full video. But first, if you're an artist, engineer, or producer, and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample of it. All you have to do is set up an account, upload the song, and we do the rest. So first up we have how to amplify sub-bass frequencies with an equalizer. The sub-frequencies of a master exist between 20 Hz and 60 Hz. So to amplify the sub-bass, you need to amplify these frequencies. This can be done in a few ways, including using an equalizer specifically designed to amplify sub-bass frequencies. Brainworks Subfilter is a good free option if you'd prefer to use an EQ designed just for this purpose. If we use the Birdum Frequency Analyzer, we can get a better understanding of how this plugin works. We see that a resonance filter is used to amplify the sub-frequencies and can be altered using the resonance option. If you'd prefer not to use a plugin like this, use a regular equalizer in linear phase mode. This way the equalization is accurate and doesn't introduce any phase cancellation. Then amplify this 20 to 60 Hz range. Additionally, you can attenuate up to 20 Hz using a high-pass filter to reduce phase cancellation. Lastly, you have the option of converting your signal into mid and side. If you do this, take a listen to the low frequency range of the side image and see if any of the signal has spilled over. If it has, cut up to 70 Hz on the side image to keep the sub-frequencies mono. Otherwise, you'll have phase cancellation that can really lessen the impact of your sub-frequencies. Let's take a listen to it.
Every day, ayy. But she ain't on that, she on me, ayy. We out here winning. Shopping malls, flexing on the rest. Eat her cookies like a monster bag. Chef for her the best. She's a killer. She's nobody realer, nobody realer. I bossy for the boss. I boss. And that's go. And every time you leave, it's that she knows, that she knows. The vibe is so official, there ain't nothing coming close. And whenever we link, it's that she knows, that she knows, that she knows, that she knows.
Next, let's look at how to use saturation on sub-frequencies. When saturating low frequencies, it's ideal to be able to separate the saturation to just a low frequency range. If you have to saturate the entirety of the frequency spectrum, it'll still help, but not to the same extent as if you were able to isolate the saturation. For our example, I'll use the FabFilter Saturn II to create a band just on the lower frequencies, and then change the saturation type to gentle saturation. Then, I'll very gradually introduce some harmonic distortion. By doing this, we create harmonics that make the fundamental easier to hear. So say our sub-frequency is 30 Hz, and we saturate the signal. If we get a second and third order harmonic, this means we'll also amplify 60 Hz and 90 Hz. Having these harmonics that relate to the fundamental causes a psychoacoustic effect in which our mind generates the fundamental frequency, in turn making it easier to hear. Now try different saturation types to see which one works the best, and again, if you can isolate the saturation to just the low frequencies, you should. Let's take a listen to it.
The vibe is so official, there ain't nothing coming close. And whenever we link, it's that she knows, that she knows, that she knows, that she knows. That she knows, that she knows, that she knows, that she knows. up in this every day, ayy. But she ain't on that, she on me, ayy. We out here winning. Shopping malls, flexing on the rack. Eating cookies like a monster bag. Chef for her the best. She's a killer, she's a killer. She matched my drip, that's why I feel her. That's why I feel her. I haven't met nobody realer, nobody realer. I bossy for the boss, a boss. And that's a feel. But I let her watch you go. And every time you leave, it's X and O's, X and O's. The vibe is so official, there ain't nothing coming close. And whenever we link, it's X and O's, X and O's, X and O's, X and O's.
Next, let's talk about how to use a sub-frequency generator. On occasion, the mix that you're mastering will completely lack sub-frequencies. When this happens, it won't matter how much you amplify 20 to 60 Hz, since there won't be much that you can bring forward at all. Now, if you find yourself in this situation, you can use a sub-frequency generator, whereas typical distortion and saturation plugins amplify and create harmonics above the fundamental. A sub-frequency generator will create a frequency below the fundamental. It does this by measuring the signal, finding the fundamental frequency, and then generating a pitch-shifted version of it further down the frequency spectrum. Low Air by Waves Audio is a great plugin for this, but should be used very carefully and sparingly. If you were to use this plugin for this purpose, I'd keep the settings to nearly off and enable the align function to avoid phase cancellation. Additionally, keep the range lower so that you only affect the sub-frequencies. Another plugin that you can use for this is Lovened by Analog Obsession. I typically find that this plugin has too strong of an effect for mastering, but maybe you can try using it as a parallel auxiliary send and blend the effect in. Let's take a listen to it.
Every day, ayy. But she ain't on that, she on me, ayy. We out here winning. Shopping malls, flexing on the rack. Eating cookies like a monster bag. Chef for her the best. She's a killer, she's a killer. She matched my drip, that's why I feel her. That's why I feel her. I haven't met nobody realer, nobody realer. I bossy for the boss, a boss. And that's a feel. But I let her watch you go. And every time you leave, it's X and O's, X and O's. The vibe is so official, there ain't nothing coming close. And whenever we link, it's X and O's, X and O's, X and O's, X and O's.
Lastly, let's talk about how to compress and amplify frequencies above your sub-frequencies. Somewhat similar to one of our previous examples, there are plugins designed specifically for compressing and amplifying harmonics directly above your sub-frequencies. Instead of generating sub-frequencies, these plugins generate harmonics to the sub-frequencies, similar to a saturator, but in a more uniform and purposeful way. The Max Bass is a good example of one of these plugins. With it, you can compress, amplify, and generate harmonics that make the fundamental sub-frequencies easier to perceive. You can also blend the amplitude of these generated frequencies in with the original signal and monitor both individually to understand how it's affecting the signal. Aside from making the sub-frequencies easier to hear, this plugin is useful if your master is going to be played back over speakers with a truncated low-frequency range. Due to the psychoacoustic effect that we discussed earlier, the mind generates the fundamental if harmonics are present, even if that fundamental isn't present. So, if you anticipate your music being played back over these types of speakers and you want your sub to translate, you should use this plugin or a similar one. Like the Low Air plugin, it's best to be careful when using Max Bass since it's pretty easy to overdo it. Another plugin that you could try is RBass, which does something similar but without the dynamic section and additional functionality. Like Lovened, this plugin is a little too aggressive for mastering, so use your better judgment and listen critically if you choose to use it. Now, if there are any additional plugins that you use for this purpose, let us know. We'd love to learn more about low-frequency harmonic exciters and dynamics processors. Let's take a listen to it.
and O's. About her business every day, ayy. But she ain't on that, she on me, ayy. We out here winning. Shopping malls, flexing on the rack. Eat her cookies like a monster bag. Chef for her the best. She's a killer, she's a killer. She matched my drip, that's why I feel her. That's why I feel her. I haven't met nobody realer, nobody realer. I bossy for the boss, I boss. And that's a feel. Leave, but I let her watch you go. And every time you leave, it's X and O's, X and O's. The vibe is so official, there ain't nothing coming close. And whenever we link, it's X and O's, X and O's, X and O's, X and O's.
So, these are our thoughts on how to create punchy sub bass in your master, but what do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you're an artist or an engineer, send us one of your mixes at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. All you have to do is set up an account, upload the song, and we do the rest. But thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends. This way we know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every week, and subscribing is the best way to stay up to date. There's a comment section where you can leave your thoughts on this video, or you can make a suggestion for a future video. And again, if you're an artist or an engineer and you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com. We'll master it for you and send you a free mastered sample. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.